This is Sabacc.
Guys, welcome back to Sabacc the Block, the official First Cut Star Wars show. We are back on another Thursday night, here to break down all the Star Wars news and goodies. I am here once again with RB3. RB3, how you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm chilling. Still trying to fit, getting things, living life. Yeah.
I see you're rocking that Dodgers sweatshirt, hoodie. Still repping the Dodgers, man. I see that.
Just by corporate alliances. Actually, tapped in my boy Mookie Betts today. He was giving out turkeys in the hood. So shout out Mookie. I said a lot of negative things about him during the World Series, but he came to the hood and tapped in. So salute to him.
Yeah, salute to him. Now, it's been another week in Star Wars news, and I want to get right to our green Psylop. So let's just get right to it, man.
If you'd only had this little green Psylop.
Now, our green Psylop is all about Sabine Wren, a character that transitioned from Star Wars Rebels in animated form into live action form in Ahsoka Season 1. We had some comments from a writer of Star Wars Rebels, Henry Gilroy, talking to Pod of the Rebellion, talking about how it was never the plan to make Sabine a Jedi. Now, his exact quote was, "It was absolutely not the plan. We really felt that not only did it step on Ezra's story, it was a weak retread. We already did this."
I actually have the quote, the audio of the quote, if we wanted to.
Oh,
hear
yeah, let's do the audio instead.
All right, yeah, for sure. 1 second. Here we go.
Now, here's where it's going to get. This is the last one I have, but this is a big one.
Let me see if we can hear it.
Vanessa, you mentioned at some point the quote, this Jedi philosopher stuff doesn't work for everyone. And then at the end, there's another quote that says about Sabine, who says, I think it's Kanan or somebody says, you're sounding more like a Jedi than a Mandalorian, to Sabine. Now, here's where it's going to get a little interesting. After watching Ahsoka Season 1, we know that Sabine eventually does train as a Jedi under Ahsoka. My opinion, when I was watching Ahsoka Season 1, is that making a Jedi kind of was the last thing that I would have expected, having watched 4 seasons of Rebels and seeing her story arc through Rebels. So rewatching and seeing this episode for the first time in a decade, hearing these two lines, was it in the plan for Sabine, if Rebels had continued on, to go down a Jedi path, or was that an invention to sell more lightsabers in the last couple of years? And are you even able to answer that?
I'll say that was absolutely not the plan. As a matter of fact, we had a discussion in actually season 3 about whether that, and we actually felt that we really felt not only did it step on Ezra's story, but it was like a retread of, okay, we already did this. You know what I mean? So yeah, the idea of Sabine training as a Jedi when she is already, this fantastic warrior of her own type, we felt like well, this is overkill. So honestly, I had nothing to do with the Ahsoka series. So I was shocked. Because pretty much, our entire story team, we discussed this in season 3. We thought it was a bad idea. Kind of did pros and cons. We were like, this is just kind of like a weak retread. Why is Sabine, why would we push that way? However, what I love about the story with the dark
and was not to have Sabine, or their plan was not to have Sabine be a Jedi. RB3, this was a pretty interesting back and forth on Star Wars Twitter as far as having Sabine be a Jedi or train as a Jedi in Ahsoka Season 1. And a lot of fans didn't like it. A lot of fans did like it. How do you feel about it, especially after hearing these comments?
Yeah, no, I mean, I get it. It's always funny having a universe that spans multiple writers and directors because everybody has their own interpretation of it. Shout out to Gilroy, to the Gilroy family. Apparently, this guy's not related to Tony Gilroy or Dan Gilroy. No relation at all. But it's also funny that ironically another Gilroy has spoke, when they were writing it, Andor, and how they had to change the speech from Rebels, right? And now we have a Rebels writer talking about how they, change things in Ahsoka. So it's like, different writers have different interpretations of the material. Everybody has different ideas. The fact of the matter is in the creative process, there's always changes. There's always reinventions. There's always kind of new things that happen down the road. He mentioned toy sales. I mean, that's more of a cynical way to look at it for sure. The lightsabers and all that. I think it is just a natural creative decision. Like, hey, if we're going to bring this character into a new show, we literally just can't have it be, for no reason. Like, there has to be something significant that happens. And, the Jedi thing is pretty much the most relevant thing that almost could happen to Sabine. So I see it from both sides. I'm not mad at the decision that they did in Ahsoka, though. I think it was a good arc, but I didn't watch. That being said, I didn't watch Rebels all the way through. And watched like the first 3 seasons, so that's me.
So, do you feel like that creative decision? Because my question isn't necessarily about changing it; it's about did the change work? Do you feel like it worked?
I mean, it worked for me as a casual fan watching Ahsoka, but I'm not the most tied into Rebels, so it could go here or there on that side of it. But as an Ahsoka fan / watcher, it made sense to me.
Yeah, this opens up a whole Pandora's box that's been going on in Star Wars Twitter for the past, I want to say 3-4 years about Dave Filoni. So Dave Filoni kind of took on the Ahsoka show, obviously directing, writing, producing, all that kind of stuff. And he really made it a point to say, these are my characters. I'm going to do what I want with them. Specifically, a lot of Star Wars Twitter didn't like what he did. Didn't like what he did with Ahsoka, making Ahsoka more reluctant, making Ahsoka closed off, and making her go through an arc that they felt was like, again, a retread, kind of like what Henry Gilroy was saying, of what she already went through in a ton of other shows, whether it was Rebels or it was Clone Wars. It's interesting because part of me is like, I do see what they're saying. Like Dave Filoni does have a weird tendency to just reverse and just be like, I changed my mind. Let's do the opposite. And it doesn't really flow that well. And then there's also moments where the character transitions didn't feel as seamless as it could have been, specifically with Hera and obviously Sabine. And Ahsoka as well. The only one I've mentioned this before, but the only one that I thought was seamless was Ezra. At least with the personality, the character, the vibe that he gave off was very similar to that Ezra we've seen before. But Sabine had a pretty significant arc in season 4, as did Ahsoka. I mean, not a season 4 Ahsoka, but Ahsoka had a pretty significant arc in Rebels when it came to her confronting Vader and realizing that he's Anakin and all this kind of stuff. And that it was really powerful. And it feels like making a Sabine a Jedi. I don't know how to feel about it, RB3. I can't lie. I'm kind of in the middle. And I posted this on Twitter, but I really do feel like I still need to like rewatch it a few times, see how season 2 goes, to really kind of chew on it and really decide if it worked, because it is kind of a takeaway of what Sabine already is, which is a powerful Mandalorian who really doesn't need to be a Jedi and can really just establish herself on her own as one of the most creative, artistic, powerful characters that we've ever seen in Star Wars. So this is going to be a conversation that keeps going, RB3. I just know it, especially with season 2 coming up.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm curious. I mean, for me, Ahsoka wasn't even like the most primetime primo Star Wars thing ever. It was a cool watch. I had a lot of it spoiled for me, by the internet. So it was a little bit less enjoyable on that front. But yeah, I think that, Yeah, we got to see. I mean, this, the way you're describing it from the outside looking in, confronting Vader, confronting Anakin, that feels like a lot of stuff Ahsoka also went through in her season of Ahsoka, right? So it's like, what's the when you have Sabine probably being, she wasn't the main character of Rebels, but one of the main characters of Rebels. Now she's a supporting character, and you have to have a whole nother main character arc fulfilled. What's really left for Sabine, really, you know what I'm saying? Like, besides just a simple power upgrade. Because in Star Wars mind and Lucasfilm mind, like, making her a Jedi is really, it's not like some big thing. Like, from a corporate standpoint, it's a power upgrade. You know what I'm saying? It's a power upgrade, like, do sets, sell more toys, sell more costumes, but also to keep people interested in the character and make it something that's adaptable for video games and comic books and all these other different directions that they want to keep milking. So, there's multiple sides to it. There's the art side of it. There's the commerce side of it. That's always kind of the split, but, the fans are always going to be left on the wrong side of that equation a lot of times.
And I feel, and I've talked about this a million times before, but I do feel like Rebels was in that, Ahsoka was in that unique spot of trying to transition new fans into what are these characters, fans who will refuse to watch Rebels just because it's animated, which I still don't get. There are a lot of fans like that who just don't watch animated shows and are watching Ahsoka for the first time and being introduced to these characters for the first time. So he had the challenge of confronting that, while at the same time satisfying Rebels fans and concluding those arcs and continuing those arcs that were established in Rebels and making them, like I said before, seamless. So it is a kind of a tough transition to really get new audiences invested in Ahsoka and at the same time satisfy returning audiences from Rebels. So it was a tough challenge, but I still think the verdict is out. I still think that we need to see what season 2 does to really establish our perspective, or my perspective at least. We have a couple people in the chat, RB3. I don't know if you see that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, just tap in.
We have Ronan in the chat. He says, "What do you think would have been a better? What do you think would have been a better build-up? Is her to use the Force? In my opinion, what I do think is her using the Force would have been a better build-up. I kind of agree with that. I saw someone on Twitter post this as well, and I don't know if that's what he's referencing, but someone said, "There's one thing. It's one thing to say I use the Force, and you could see Sabine use the Force and grab a cup or whatever, and it's another thing to say I'm training to be a Jedi." Like, those are two different things. And I think the leap of going from I'm using the Force, I'm a Jedi, like, it really just jumped so high up that it really did feel like, where did this come from? And I think that dramatic change can really be there. And he just says sometimes derivatives can be felt in the Force. Everything doesn't need to be serious with Star Wars that will turn fans off, says Kevin Davis.
Kevin Davis.
Yeah, that will turn off fans. Yeah, I heard. I mean, there's another story, but I heard Ahsoka is going to be a lot more lighthearted season 2. So we'll see how that goes as well. But,
of course.
Yeah. I don't know, man. This is going to be, I'm telling you, bro, Ahsoka season 2 is going to conclude what Filoni's, is he going to make that Filoni Avengers movie, like team up movie that is supposedly going to happen with the Mandalorian and Bo-Katan and all these characters coming in together to fight Thrawn? If this flops, then I don't know if he's going to make it. I think Lucasfilm is going to be reactive.
That's what I was going to say. Like, what really happens after Mandalorian and Grogu comes out? Because, it can, I can see a world where it does make money and it can make money, like, for sure. I just don't know anybody who's, like, seriously excited about it. Like, even the people who I know were the most hardcore Mandalorian fans in, like, 2019, Mandalorian season 2 fans in 2022 or 2021, whenever that came out. Like, and they had a fan base. Trust me, like, there's a lot of Mandalorian fans out there, and there probably still are, but I'm not seeing any of them online who are reacting positively to this trailer, to this movie, to anything about this whole situation. So I'm just very curious how, because you see online stuff, and that's Star Wars fans, that's Star Wars online. But what about the normies? How much will the this Mandalorian and Grogu appeal to the normies, the regular Disney Plus watchers and stuff like that. And I'm just very curious on what that equation is going to look like, because I don't know. I don't think there's going to be a lot for the normies, but I could be wrong.
It's always tough, man, to do a transition from a TV series into a movie. Like how many times can we say that's been successful in the past for any TV
Almost
show?
Never, barely ever.
Almost never, yeah. And the fact that this is being done by the biggest franchise of all time, I mean, I don't know if that's the correct decision. Like, I still don't know if it's the correct decision that they made, and they're kind of relying on it. I still think they kind of see it as a throwaway, as a let's just put a movie out there and see what happens, a litmus test, if so to say. Because I don't know if they really care necessarily, because I don't think the budget was that crazy for this movie compared to, like, you know, a crazy budget from another movie that they might make in the past. So I think that's why part of it is them being just like, whatever, let's see what happens. And then Ahsoka Season 2 is really, I think, going to make or break Dave Filoni's future inside the Star Wars universe.
Well, I do. Shout out Ronan. He might be the first person I've seen pumped for Mandalorian and Grogu. He said he's pumped. As long as the movie can stand on its own for normies and general audience and yet not leave me and hardcore fans behind, yeah, that'll be a win. That's the balancing act. That's the formula, you know, how can they do that, you know? So,
and it's tough to do, man. It's tough, but if you can do it, I think it's possible. I personally think it's possible. I know a lot of people have said in the past that it's not, and they say that, general audiences are not going to get it. They'll get it, man. They're not. General audiences are not dumb anymore. They're pretty smart, and
anymore.
They used to be dumb. Like, they used to be hella dumb when it came to, like, I can't follow. Who's that? Like, they can follow. You know, they're dumb in other ways. They're still dumb in other ways, if not dumber. But when it comes to, like, following fantasy stories and, like, superhero stories, they'll catch on. It's no problem. But let's move on to our full sabacc, which I'm pretty excited about.
Full sabacc.
So our full sabacc is all about the best cinematography in Star Wars. I wanted to have this conversation with you, RB3, obviously, because you are a true film fan, a director yourself. And I wanted to talk to you about what you think are the best shot Star Wars movies, as in the best overall cinematography. And this is something that I was thinking of the other day, because there's a lot of conversations around what are the best songs, what are the best moments, best characters, but not a lot of people talk about the direction, the cinematography of Star Wars. And obviously Star Wars isn't necessarily known to be the most amazing cinematography of all time, but at the same time, there's some really incredibly well shot Star Wars movies. So RB3, give me a couple of your favorites and then try to make a top 3 list if you can.
So a top 3 list. So that'd be fun. So for me, when we were talking about during our text messages, I thought you had meant top 3 like individual shots. So that's where I had challenged myself to narrow it down, because there's a lot of great cinematography in Star Wars, and you know, we're going to pay honor to that. Just for the sake, you know, it's funny because, like, there's some Star Wars movies that look great. There's some Star Wars movies where the cinematography is just not good because of the technology, particularly, I hate to say it, the prequels, you know what I'm saying, don't really look particularly that good, like, especially as a film fan. There's some moments like
there's some shots.
Sith. Yeah, Revenge of the Sith.
There's some shots that are cool.
Yeah, Revenge of the Sith has moments, stuff like that. It just looks so computerized. But to me, the OG trilogy and the sequel trilogy are really the places that are the strongest to me. And then I also want to say Andor is really I would say Andor. I have 3 shots. I actually have 4 individual shots that I've prepped here. I really challenge myself to also just keep it to movies instead of TV, because TV oftentimes there's different DPs, you know, for different episodes, and it's kind of a little bit of a weirder conversation. But that being said, Andor, the opening sequence when he shoots the guy in the rain in that like blue neon thing, that's gorgeously, I mean, it's like Red Blade Runner, right? The scene when they also in episode 1 when we go to his OG home planet, where he was like originally from, that like foresty, woodsy planet. And there's like a close up of one of the young girls. I think it's like his cousin or whatever playing. Amazing shot right there. So many amazing shots in Andor. But that being said, my top three, I'm gonna go my individual shots, and I think it's gonna speak to what I think of the overall my favorite Star Wars movies. So for one, or actually I'll start in reverse order. For three, I gotta go with Return of the Jedi. The sequence, which you can see on screen right now for viewers, when Luke is fighting Darth Vader in that Emperor's throne room, and the camera glides as we get those lightsabers clashing against each other. And the background and the props are gray and black and moody, but then the lightsabers are colorful. And then, of course, Luke's outfit is black. Darth Vader's outfit is black. But the colors, not that one. The colors really pop on, with the lightsabers. So that to me is my number three shot right there for show. My number two favorite shot comes from, again, the new trilogy. Shout out to The Force Awakens. The Force Awakens has this amazing shot where John Boyega picks up the blaster, to shoot these two, stormtroopers, and boom, Poe Dameron flies in overhead, makes the sweep. I think people hearing, sorry. I didn't know y'all could hear the audio, my bad. Poe Dameron comes in, swoops in, shoots him up, long take. John Boyega comes back into the frame. He sees it. He's like, woo, that's one hell of a pilot. And then it comes back to homie, Poe Dameron in the cockpit. Yeah, that's like, I remember in the theater, that literally like had me cheering, bro, like cheering. I got to run that. It got me chills just looking at it again. And, I know some people can hear the audio at home. I can't hear it. I'm just looking at the visuals, but gosh, dog, like it is just like such a beautiful shot. J.J. Abrams put his whole foot into this movie, and it was just, it's just incredible. And then my number one favorite individual shot is gotta go again back to the OG, triple OG, the first Star Wars movie, the very first shot of the movie after the opening crawlers ended. We get the camera panning down to these, a planet and the moon. A small little spaceship enters the frame at the very top, and then boom, right after that little spaceship, this ginormous Star Destroyer just invades the entire screen. I mean, can you imagine being there in 1997 for the first time?
77, yeah.
Or 77, sorry, 97. The year I was born. 1997, you ain't never seen no kind of technology like this before. Like, we take it for granted now. We have CGI and we have all these cool things. Like, imagine seeing that in 1977, this photorealistic looking spaceship invading the whole screen in like this amazing cinematic moment. Like, dog, it's I can't help but to say that's the best shot in Star Wars history. And that's me. Now, I do want to give one quick shout. Oh my gosh, I didn't even edit this one. I'm so sorry, y'all. One quick shout out to The Last Jedi, and I wanted to include this sequence, of course, like the amazing light jump where the Hado goes in and then splices the ship. Yeah, exactly. That one I didn't count because it's not one individual shot. The shots actually move kind of quick. It's more of an edited sequence. But that moment right there, I mean, you talk about a cinematic moment. It's also a lot of CGI. I get that. But dog, look at that. Like,
yeah,
cool. Man, the way that light is just beaming through the ship, and that silence that you had in the theater, like that pitch black silence, all you could do is just look at the visuals as that happens. Like, yeah, that was I wanted to mention that, but it wasn't just one shot. It was a bunch of individual shots, but that moment is a primetime moment right there,
Yeah, those are all great shots. I like how we had a misunderstanding of what I was thinking, because I don't have any shots prepped. I have no idea if you ask me right now, because there's probably a million in my head. But I do want to give like an overall shout out to some of the best overall shot Star Wars movies. And I do think I have to show some love to the movie you just talked about, man. The Last Jedi. Last Jedi is really one of the best shot Star Wars movies. I do think it has some beautiful cinematography, some beautiful moments inside that movie. And overall, it has that balance between what The Force Awakens was doing, which is like pure going back to basics kind of stuff, into combining that a little bit with more of a futuristic kind of look, more of a prequel, so to say, kind of look, if you want to include that, a little more digital shots inside The Last Jedi, or at least it felt like there was more digital shots in The Last Jedi, and yet it worked. That balance was really, really well done. You can point to the throne room scene with Rey and Kylo Ren as giving you a lot of shots. You can point to the scenes with Rey and Kylo Ren in pretty much any shot, and they have some incredible moments inside. The framing of that movie is really, really well done. I also, this might be my hottest take. Obviously, Rogue One gets a lot of love as the Star Wars story that has some of the best cinematography in Star Wars. But my hottest take in all of well, no, not all of Star Wars, but one of my hottest takes is I love how Solo, a Star Wars story, is shot. I love how Solo is shot. Bradford Young, the DP on that movie, went for a super naturalistic lighting kind of vibe, and people hated it. They called it too dark. They called can't seeing. Where's the light at? And I was like loving it. I remember watching that for the first time and being like, holy crap. I love natural lighting. Like, I just love it. And I know it's not cool anymore. It used to be cool. People hate it now. But for me, I just do think it works. I think it works. And I think it looks really, really pretty. And it flows within that story, and it makes sense to me. So I think that's one of the best shot Star Wars movies. But I do have to give my top spot, man, to Empire Strikes Back. Whether it's Hoth, whether it's Cloud City. Yeah. Whether it's, honestly, every shot in that battle with Darth Vader and Luke is absolutely iconic. The shot when he first ignites the lightsaber and they first, go head to head on that battle is absolutely iconic and beautiful in every way. And it really is kind of, in my opinion, what sold audiences into being like, oh, this is a different level. Like, we love the first Star Wars movie. That was perfect. And suddenly you're like, whoa, this is just pure art, bro. This is on a different scale. And I do think that movie is probably the best shot Star Wars movie of all time.
No, I mean, I agree. I mean, the one reason I had a hard time finding an individual shot from Empire is because, like, they're all so good. I mean, the ice planet at the beginning, like you said, Cloud City, everything on the Falcon even looked incredible in that movie. I forgot the exact name of the director of it, but I know that was like one of George Lucas's like mentors / teachers back at SC. So, like, kind of a vet directing this film, and you kind of see just it looked great, it felt great. Yeah, that's almost a perfect. I mean, it is a perfect Star Wars film, and yeah, the cinematography is next level in that. Speaking of Solo, Bradford Young, only black DP in Star Wars, Star Wars motion picture history at least. And he did something with that. I'll say I'm one of the ones that I do think it's a little too dark. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think this is a little. I want a little more brightness. Even when I like play the intro for this show, I'm like, gosh, dang, I could barely see that mug. You know what I'm saying? Because we're using clips from Solo.
From Solo,
That being said, though, I get it. He's an artist. He does that. I don't know what happened. I don't know. Apparently, like, I don't know if it was this movie or it was Arrival, but something happened, and we don't really see my man Bradford Young anymore. Like, he really, really fell off the face of the planet. I don't know what's up with that. Some stories say that, he didn't really like the, Hollywood production things. He's probably just focusing on like smaller projects, or maybe he cashed in so good off of Arrival and off of this one that it just, he hasn't needed. But I love his eye, and I like Solo a lot. And I wish Bradford Young should shoot more things because he's one of the best we have.
I'm with you on that. I don't know what happened. Like he should be in a lot more movies. He should be making a lot more movies, in my opinion. But yeah, I don't know if it was Solo. It might have been maybe a bad experience for him or something, or maybe something that producers or studios didn't like. I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought it was. I thought it's cool, man. I love the naturalistic lighting, and I know people hate it, but for me, it's like I love squinting, man. Give me that squinting vibe. I'm like over here, and I'm like, yeah, I love it. Just because it's different. It's just different. And I'm used to kind of the studio lighting kind of stuff that we got in the prequels and we got in some other movies.
Yeah.
And that we usually get. Like, look at, no offense, but maybe some offense, look at the Marvel movies. Like, those movies are not particularly shot the best. It doesn't look the best. And a lot of that is the lighting. So for me, I just think what he was going for was so bold, and it just worked for me. Absolutely. Ronan says, dude, the Falcon's first flight in The Force Awakens was a religious experience. Shout out to Dan Mendel. That's a great one. Yeah, that's an absolutely great one. Even the first reveal of the Falcon is obviously super iconic, with Rey being talking about the garbage. Mm-hmm. It's like, the garbage will do, and then the camera pans, and you see the Falcon, and the audience goes crazy. Mm-hmm. That's a great one too. That's a really good moment and a great shot inside that movie. So
I also just did Google what happened with Bradford Young, and apparently he is still working. He works, he's doing like commercials. I think he just did the music film for Andre 3000's new jazz album, flute album. So he's still working. But yeah, literally he his last movie was Solo: Star Wars Story. And according to Reddit, this post says, on Roger Deakins' podcast, Bradford said he was leaving the industry. He wouldn't say why, but clearly something happened that he didn't want to work as a DP anymore. So, yeah, part of me feels like maybe it is the Solo, refilming 90% of the movie. That could be taxing as a DP. Again, we've talked about it before on the show. What was his relationship with Denis Villeneuve like? Because it seems like they might have, I don't know if Bradford Young and Denis Villeneuve didn't like see eye to eye on certain things, because they only made Arrival together. Normally when a director and a DP are vibing, like they do a few movies together and, we see them out and they talking about each other, bigging each other up. I never heard Denis Villeneuve mention Bradford Young. I never mentioned Bradford Young mention Denis Villeneuve. And low key, Arrival is my favorite Denis Villeneuve movie. It's not the best shot. I would say Dune and Dune 2 are the best looking Denis Villeneuve movies. And also Blade Runner 2049, even though that movie's okay to me. But yeah, Bradford Young, I mean, he got the sauce. He had the sauce. But yeah, he's commercials, music videos, like, yeah, you don't need to work with this Hollywood weirdness anymore, brother. Salute to that.
Yeah, it's just getting paychecks, man. Just getting money. Every time I see those like crazy car commercials, I'm like, damn, somebody's behind the camera and they're getting paid. They're not doing movies, but they're doing commercials that cost millions and millions and get paid millions and millions off doing commercials.
Low key, probably getting paid the same amount as a movie just for like 1 or 2 days of work. Like straight up. Straight up.
It's crazy, man. Every time I see them, I'm like, that's not cheap. That is a lot of money. And whoever's making it is getting a lot of money. So shout out to him, man. If he wants to go that route, that's cool too. But still, I love Solo, and I think it's a great shot movie. Before we take off, RB3, you mentioned Oscar Isaac's comments. What was this about? I don't know if I got some clarity on it. What comments are you referencing?
Oh yeah, this was like 10 days ago. But yeah, he had an interview. I think it was with Empire or GQ, one of the two. Where they asked him, "Would you be open to returning to the Star Wars universe as Poe Dameron?" And he said he is not feeling like he wants to work with Disney anymore. You know what I'm saying? I think the exact quote was something along the lines, if they could stop being fascist, that'd be cool, or that'd be dope. And then he was in that quote was also in the context of talking about the Jimmy Kimmel firing that happened recently. They fired Kimmel. They're kind of succumbing to this whole Trump administration thing, and Oscar Isaac apparently is not having it. So yeah, it seems like a few weeks ago I talked about why not a Poe Dameron spinoff movie? You know what I'm saying? Like, why not a Poe Dameron sequel film that follows his story instead of this weird Starfighter thing or whatever? Maybe Starfighter is good. I don't know. But, Yeah, I mean, Oscar Isaac, I don't know if he's been nominated for an Oscar, but he's definitely been in that conversation a couple times. He's a great star. I love seeing him come back, but at the same time, I love that he's standing on business with Star Wars, and I hope more actors continue to do that too.
Yeah, I saw the clip of it too, which to me provides a little more context. He was kind of like, yeah, maybe. Well, actually, if they stop, I think he said catering to fascists or like bowing down to fascists or something like that. Then he was like, maybe I will if they stop doing that. Which is still commendable of him to even mention that, because obviously that's true. And he, took that the right way, because I feel like I think out of I won't say out of every sequel actor, but out of a lot of sequel actors, if you see some interviews with Oscar Isaac, you could kind of tell like he's not happy with Disney and how they kind of run their formula and their business when it comes to Star Wars. Because there was another clip, man, and I can't believe I'm bringing this up, but there's another clip that I didn't even remember, but apparently I saw it before, and I just, that memory came back to me, where he was talking about Finpo.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see that? Where he was like, I actually wanted to explore this relationship and make it romantic between me and Finn. And he was talking about it, and he said Disney literally shot him down. And he was like, the Disney overlords did not want that at all. And he said he was disappointed. I thought that was funny, because I was like, did I remember this clip? I completely forgot it. But apparently Oscar literally was like talking about it and wanting to do it. And they turned him down. And they were like, nah, bro, we're not doing that.
Hey, look, I mean, this is the Mouse House. You know what I'm saying? Like, Disney not gonna let that fly. They wouldn't even put the freaking alien from Lilo and Stitch in the dress. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's with them, Disney in the previous era, for sure, like 2015, 2016, 2017, they would have been all in for having some fun like that. But now in this like hyper anti-woke, BS era, like,
there's no way.
It's kind of tough.
But I do got to say that I do think kind of what Ronan is saying right now, that I do think there's a possibility that he comes back. I do think that's possible. And I do think that, if he said, as long as they don't, keep doing that, or if Disney kind of goes back to what they were before and not, bowing down to fascists, he is open to return. So that still leaves the door open to what you were saying before, as far as seeing a little bit more of Poe. And I think that'd be cool. I think that'd be cool as hell, especially with Starfighter coming out. If anything, Starfighter can be a bridge to, the movie ends, Ryan Gosling goes back to the base, and there's Poe. Boom. Something like that. Like, it could work out. It could work out. And then obviously Ronan said that maybe he gets a nomination for Frankenstein, which I don't think so, but hopefully, fingers crossed, man. I love Oscar Isaac. I think he's great.
Yeah, no, that would be cool to see him get some love for Frankenstein. It'd be cool to see him get some love for for Frankenstein. I mean, I mean that, I mean the cop in, cop out kind of answer is not as good for me. You know what I'm saying? Because when is Disney ever gonna not succumb to fascism? You know what I'm saying? Like, let's have a real conversation about this. Like,
but then that argument doesn't work then, because then you'd never come back, right? Even if I don't know.
I would say you should.
You would never make a Disney movie.
Yeah, he shouldn't. I mean, dang, he shouldn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, like, yeah. I mean, I know I'm a Star Wars fan. We're Star Wars fans. We're supposed to be loving Star Wars.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I would rather not see a Poe Dameron movie and never see Oscar Isaac in a Star Wars movie if that meant he was really standing on business about not working with Disney. Because we know, we all know what Disney would or wouldn't do for the sake of a paycheck. You know what I'm saying? The only reason they brought back Jimmy Kimmel was because mad people was canceling their subscription services, when that happened. You know what I'm saying? The only reason why they do anything that is not remotely quote unquote, fascist or whatever, like, is because they don't think it's going to help their bottom line. So it's like, yeah, he can return. I'm cool if he returns, but also at the same time, like, if you're gonna dip your toe into standing up for something, don't just dip your toe. Dive all the way in. You know what I'm saying? Like, shout out to my girl Tatiana Mussolini. You know what I'm saying, or whatever her name is. Like, she ain't never gonna be in no She-Hulk. Yeah, she ain't never. How many times she done ripped Disney? Like, I mean, there ain't no way Disney would be cool. She done ripped Disney a new one like 4 different times. I'm like,
yeah, it's awesome to see. I love, bro. Tatiana's my girl, bro. I love her.
Hey, look, and I love that too. Like, hey, look, like just keep stomping on them because they're a mega corporation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But and they're still like people are like, oh, we're trying to work. Like movies are still being made outside of the Disney corporation. But yeah. Anyway, that's yo, Ronan, that's a good idea though. Give me a scripted podcast of Star Wars with Oscar Isaac returning as Poe Dameron. Again, if I would really look if Disney turn it around, they start greenlighting 6 Black Panther movies and 4 Ava DuVernay movies, and a couple of Lee Isaac Chung movies, and you know what I'm saying? Like they really start turning this whole anti-DI thing around. I'm all back in on the Disney train, but I just don't believe like they're a corporation just like everybody else. So I'm not gonna hold them to some special standard. I would like to see more people standing up to them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Shout out to Tatiana for sure. I think that's a good call for sure. I do think she's a real one, 100%. Yeah. Any final thoughts, RB3?
Nah, that's it, man. I mean, I guess you don't want to talk about this them young Jedis.
I just don't know anything about it, bro. I've never seen the show. I've seen like, pictures of it, like a giant teddy bear with a lightsaber. Like people are excited, and shout out to them. I love the Lego stuff. The Lego movies are fun, and the Lego show was awesome. I reviewed that for Geeks of Color if you guys want to check that out. But other than that, like that's probably the bottom of the age bracket I'll go to. And I think Young Jedi is literally like young. Like they're like, nah, bro. Like, we're looking at 4-year-olds.
Well, that's that. I mean, to me, that's the Skeleton Crew. To me. So I just can't give.
The Skeleton Crew is like 8-year-olds maybe, but Young Jedi is like, damn, bro, you got to be like just learning about stuff. So
yeah, wait, is that stuff like lore? Is it like lore? Connected or not really?
I think so. I think it might be. Yeah, I think it's connected to the books, the book series as well, and obviously to the stuff they were trying to do in the Acolyte. So some of the stories on that in the book and stuff like that were in there. So
word. Yeah.
Shout out to Ronan who joined us in the chat the whole time. That was dope, bro.
Yeah.
Kevin Davis as well. He was here. So shout out to everyone who joined us this live stream. We appreciate y'all, honestly.
Yeah, nah, for sure, man. We back every Thursday, y'all. Every Thursday we up.
Yeah, every Thursday we're gonna have some more guests. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Please make sure to tune in every week if you can. That'd be dope. Leave a like, leave a comment, all that good stuff. RB3, where can everyone find you, man?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Director RB3, and you can also you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Director RB3. Yeah, and a TikTok.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Squad Leader Ace. Make sure to join us once again here at First Cut for more videos, more content, and more coverage on movies. Either way, guys, for the Sabacc the Block crew, we're going to be peacing out. So peace. Deuces.